Welcome to Excel Magic Trick number 785. Hey, if you want to download this workbook, Excel Magic Trick 779 to 786, click on the link below the video. Wow, we have a huge array formula here, thanks to Aladdin at the Mr. Excel message board, and an array formula I did in the Mr. Excel is Fun Trick 78, extract top 2 customers. If you go over to this sheet right here, I did a formula there, but that formula only works if this column and this column are sorted. What if they're not? That's where this video comes in. Now, I have the solution here for that Mr. Excel trick 78, but I'm going to do this on a small data set. Now, I posted this to a Mr. Excel message board, and I posted and I said, boom, this is the formula I'm using. Can anyone figure out something easier? Now, this formula works, but of course, the best formula master I know, Aladdin, came up with a great, much shorter formula. Now, ultimately, one of the problems here is the fact that there are duplicates, right? So the idea is here's industry, industry A, B, and we want to extract customer names from this column based on the fact that, let's say, the top 3, and there could be duplicates, right? So if we say top 3 for B, there's going to be duplicates for third place. So then we need to display more, right? So the idea is ultimately we're extracting these names and putting them here. But the hard part is because there's duplicates here. So what are we going to do? We're going to start with just seeing if we can, in a formula, extract the top. And I'll start here. I'm just going to see for A, can I actually get the values, the top 3 values? Here there should be 3. Here there should be 4. And really the conceptual trick here is it's going to be your standard kind of regular big nasty array formula for extracting data. But when it gets to these value, we need to, because there's duplicates, we need to add a little bit extra to each item in this column here. So this number and this number, which are equal right now inside of our formula, they'll be slightly different. This one will be a little bit smaller. This one will be a little bit bigger. And in essence, we'll add, we'll use the row function and add an extra number to each one and then divide it by 10,000. So it'll be some small amount. All right, you ready? We're going to use the large. Remember, before we get into our extract formula, we want to see if we can actually pull the values out. Large. Well, in this range array right here, we're going to need a bunch of conditions. So the first one is if, well, anything here is equal to, and I'm going to F4, is equal to this. And I'm going to lock this with the column reference. Right? So we need to dump a bunch of values into large. This just isolates it. So I don't want all of them. I want just the ones that are equal to A, comma. Now, we have another criteria, if. Now, remember, it's the A's for this row right here and the 3 biggest. So the next part is going to be the 3 biggest. So if anything in this range right here, F4, is greater than or equal to the third largest value for A. And this is going to get tricky. We're going to have to use the large again. Large. All right, so we've already included one criteria here for A, but now we're inside the A. This second if right here needs to just pull the third biggest, all the values greater than or equal to the third biggest for A, right? So we have to actually repeat this very same criteria again. Right? Now, comma, what do we want? Well, this is the value we're saying greater than or equal to, just these values. So F4. And I'm going to close parentheses on this if. Notice that's the if inside of this large. This large is just to get the third biggest value for A. Now I'm going to comma, and the K is going to be the third biggest value right here, F4. Close parentheses. Now, right now, if I highlight this, just this part, and hit F9, you can see, sure enough, I'm getting the third biggest value. Large function knows this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So Control Z. Now, for the large, we actually need to extract these 3 values, but this value's got to be a little bit smaller than this one. So when we've had this logical test and this one right here, comma, and what do we want to dump into this large right here? Well, these values right here. F4, plus a little bit extra, and that's where we'll do this row. This will give us row 5, 6, all the way to 16. I'm going to hit F4. And I'm going to divide it by some big number like 10,000. Right? So now we have if there. Close off that one right there. Now we're back to the large. So this little thing right here, and I'm going to hit F9. These took these values here, and I increased the decimal so you could see all the zeros. And it just added an extra little bit to each one. So when we get down to this one right here, which is this number, it's 7016, right? And this top one right here, which represents this, is 7005. So that's a trick of dealing with duplicates, to add a little bit extra to each one, incrementally bigger, and there then are no duplicates. Now I'm going to Control Z. All right, now as we go to the side for A, we need the first biggest, second biggest, third biggest, etc. And by the way, if I highlight this right here and hit the F9 key, you can see, oh, there are the numbers we're dumping into large. 1, 2, 3, the three largest. So Control Z, comma, and this is where we do our columns. This is our number incrementer as we copy to the side. I'm sitting in F7, so I'm going to type $F7, colon F7, close parentheses on the columns, close parentheses on the large, Control Shift Enter. By the way, that if right there, logical test that's going to cause us to do Control Shift Enter no matter what. All right, so that's looking all right there. We'll deal with that num later. There are the top three values, including the last tie for B. Now I'm actually going to copy this in edit mode, paste it down here just so we can see it as we create the rest of our formula. All right, now guess what? That was really hard, right? But this is just going to be the lookup value in match. We're going to use index because we're ultimately interested in customer numbers here, right? So this whole thing, remember, as we copy the side, it changes. That's going to be the match value. Control C. I'm going to come right here. Actually, I could just build it just to make it so. I've already copied it, right? So index. Oh, I want these, so index can look up a one-way reference range there. So I'm going to F4 it. That's our array of lookup values, comma. And now we need a row number. We're going to use match to get the row number. And the thing we're looking up in match is going to be that huge thing we copied. So match. Lookup value, just close your eyes and Control V. That's what that is, comma. And now, remember, as we copy, we could see down here, see, we added that extra little bit each time. So the lookup array, it can't just be these values. We have to repeat this same little thing right here. Right? Those values in this column, plus all the little extra bits. So Control C, and that goes into matches lookup array, comma. Then the match type is 0. They're not sorted, so it's an exact match. Close parentheses on the match. That whole thing right there, F9, is giving us a row number. So that's number 9, which is, boom, that number, the first biggest for A. Control Z. Now I'm going to, that's a row number, close parentheses there, and then Control Shift Enter. Drag it over. We still have our num, but we'll deal with that in just a second. Now it's giving me not the numbers like this one was. That was giving us numbers. This is giving us the account numbers. Now I'm going to use a 2007 function here to make it easy on ourselves. If you were in 2003 or earlier, it's going to be more complicated. You have to do this, actually count for each group what's the count for greater than or equal to the third biggest. How many are, right. So there, that formula would work. And then this, you'd have to do your if columns, blah, 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 and then do that. But watch this. If you're in 2007, if error, absolutely awesome. Because this index gets a num right there. So we say, just slap our formula, come to the end, and comma, double quote. Control Shift Enter. What would all of us Excelers do without Aladdin at the Mr. Excel message board? That is a wild formula. Now remember, the one I posted was that right there. All right, we'll see you next trick.